Lauren Veneziani McCarthy, and this is our dog, Oscar.
I'm Kevin McCarthy, and we are married film critics who like to review films, and we are going to do Mission Impossible Fallout this week. We did the premiere in D.C. on Sunday, the U.S. premiere for the film, and we interviewed the whole cast, and we'll get into the details about that and what we talked to the cast about. But we're going to review the movie first. So this is Christopher McQuarrie. He's returning as the filmmaker here. This is the first time in Mission Impossible film franchise that a director has actually returned to direct another mission film, because the first one was De Palma, then John Woo, then J.J. Abrams, then Brad Bird.
And it's also the first time that there's a Mission Impossible sequel has been a direct sequel of the previous film. So a lot of the same characters are coming over into the sixth film, which is Fallout.
Yeah, we love Christopher McQuarrie in this house. We are big Way of the Gun fans. Obviously, Usual Suspects is a brilliant script.
We need to watch The Way of the Gun again.
Yeah, we definitely do. And Del Toro and Philippi are phenomenal in that film. So this is our dog Oscar. He's named after the Academy Awards.
Hi, Cookie.
Let's jump into Fallout. So Fallout, this is all spoiler free. Basically, all you need to know plot wise is
that, without giving anything away, because it is spoiler free, like Kevin said. So, like I said, this is kind of like a bleed over from Rogue Nation, and the story continues on here. Rebecca Ferguson returns, and a villain essentially wants to kill a lot of people, 1/3 of the world or something like that. So Tom Cruise and his crew are planning on stopping him. That's their mission.
And Angela Bassett's character with the CIA forces another character, Henry Cavill's character, to kind of join the team to help with this mission of finding the plutonium that can be then used to take out the mission of 1/3 of the world. It's it's one of those things where you have the stakes of the possible idea of a quarter of the world or a third of the world ending, so the IMF has to come in and try and stop that. And Alec Baldwin's back, and listen, Tom Cruise has kind of proved over these years in these particular films that he's amazing, and he wants to create the best experience for the audience, because he knows the audience is spending a lot of money on these tickets, upwards of $20. So why not do as many of these stunts as
possible? And what I was saying, talking with Kevin earlier today, is that obviously not a lot of actors do their own stunts. Totally reasonable, because if you get hurt, it can delay production. It could really delay what you want to do in your career if you get really, really hurt. But obviously Tom Cruise did get hurt in this one he broke his ankle. They left it in the movie. Kevin can talk about that later. But because he does his own stunts, that is why these movies have been able to be great movies every single time. I mean, there's so little franchises.
They get better.
And
the Fast and Furious franchise. Like I think the Fast and Furious franchise started off good, but now it's gotten great ever since The Rock kind of joined Fast 5. Those movies have kind of upped the ante and become better. These mission films are getting better and better and better. After Mission Impossible 3 and J.J. Abrams, what he did with Mission Impossible 3 when he catapulted Cruise against that car after the missile hit the bridge, which is one of my favorite stunts in the Mission franchise.
And you told Tom Cruise that.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise actually, it's funny, I was in the middle of my interview with Tom Cruise on the red carpet in the DC premiere, and I was talking to him I was getting ready to talk to him about the Halo jump stunt in this particular film, and I mentioned real quickly that I love the stunt from Mission 3 when he catapults against the car, and he joked, I don't even know if he was joking, he said they planned it on Friday and they filmed it on Monday, which doesn't surprise me considering coming from him, but you got to respect a guy who's willing to put his life on the line.
He wants them to make fans happy, and he wants to make a good, fun movie that people want to see. So
we'll get into the review. Review-wise, I had some issues with this movie, but I do think on the positive end of it, cinematography-wise, action-wise, it's phenomenal. I mean, this is
and the cast is great. There's not one bad performance. I mean, Vanessa Kirby joins in this one. Rebecca Ferguson is my girl. She's amazing as always. I loved Henry Cavill in this film. Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, Marcellus Wallace.
I love Ving Rhames.
Angela Bassett. I mean, there's some really great additions to the movie, and the action scenes, the bathroom scene that we've seen in the trailer is amazing. Henry Cavill told me that it was 4 weeks to shoot that.
That's insane. And that bathroom scene is wild. And apparently, I've watched some interviews with Henry Cavill where he said that the reloading of the arms was actually
or the arm pump.
It kind of came about just kind of on set, but that scene is brutal. I mean, it's very brutal because McQuarrie kind of turns the score down. You have the beats bumping from the club that they're in, and it's just this full-on brawl in the middle of the bathroom that is just... and it's funny because it's a PG-13 film and there's very minimal blood. It's kind of how they would get away with all the violence, but that scene is just pure brutality.
It's pretty violent. It's violent,
amazing.
But like,
you feel
crazy.
every punch when you're in IMAX. But you know, that's what makes this movie great. Is there are so many different action set pieces that make this movie special, and those are the scenes that really, in my opinion, are make the movie worth seeing in a theater. But the Halo jump sequence, which is just one of these things where, in my opinion, oddly enough, the Halo jump scene looks better and sounds better through behind the scenes footage and also through interviews. I think in the movie it looks very, very cool, but I think that because there are some digital elements added to it with the storm and things like that, it doesn't play, in my opinion, as well as what was put into it. You have to understand that Tom Cruise is jumping out of a plane at 25,000 feet.
And they did it over 100 times or something?
I mean, so the 105 times or so is how many times they had to do.
How is this man still alive?
Yeah, it's truly
what
insane.
I think about the whole movie.
So Macquarie said a handful of the jumps were done at 25,000 feet, and the others were done at 18,000 feet. The 25,000 feet ones were the ones they needed to do as minimally because of all the things, that dangers of hypoxia and things that can happen with oxygen and things like that at that level. But Cruise does jump out of a plane with a cameraman at 25,000 feet. The cameraman jumps out backwards, and he's having to pull focus as Cruise is catching up to him. Cruise is almost playing the character of a cinematographer there, because if Cruise does not get within a certain length from that lens,
crazy.
he will be out of focus. He will be out of focus. So the cameraman has no viewfinder. He cannot see what's going on. It's all based on feeling and what's going on while they're falling at over 165, 70 miles per hour from an airplane. So it's truly insane what they pulled off with this movie.
It really is, and obviously the action stunts are some of the best in the franchise. And of course, I'm a romantic, so I like seeing the romance in there with a little bit with the part. Obviously, Michelle Monaghan's character is back. She was Ethan Hunt's wife in Mission Impossible 3, and I felt like for fans, so much was left open and not closed with that storyline. So I liked how there was a bit of closure here for her character. I still like how they don't really have like the Tom Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson relationship be romantic. There's still like a deep underlying care and affection for each other there.
Yeah.
We don't really know like where it's going to go, but I like how it's not what it has been in some of the previous Mission Impossible films. So I loved all of that. I mean, obviously, coming from Rogue Nation, which is my favorite Mission Impossible film, and I know that's big to say, it really is, though I've seen it like so many times. The Vienna Opera House scene is like
amazing.
My personal favorite Mission Impossible scene of the whole
fight in
franchise.
the rafters, oh my
so
gosh,
good.
so good.
And Rebecca Ferguson's entrance, like I remember talking to Christopher McQuarrie about that on the red carpet. It's just so amazing. So I loved Fallout, but I just didn't like it as much as Rogue Nation. But I still think it's such a solid, great action film, great in the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yeah, and Ghost Protocol is still my favorite. I love what Brad Bird did with that movie, and the Burj Khalifa stunt is still my favorite stunt of the whole franchise. And
everybody remembers that stunt.
Yeah.
Even if you've seen the Mission films only once or twice, they all remember Tom Cruise crawling on that building.
Yeah, and you gotta appreciate Brad Bird kind of shooting with IMAX film cameras too, very much like Christopher Nolan. So that jump in IMAX aspect ratio, which Macquarie does have here, but digitally. It goes from 35mm film to digital IMAX, so it's not as gigantic of a jump, but it looks great in regards to that aspect. But my problems with the movie, I did not particularly buy into the villain, and I was saying earlier that I think that a lot of the best villains in movies are conflicted, in my personal opinion, like Killmonger earlier this year in Black Panther or Thanos. There is an argument for what they're doing while they're crazy or...
We get to see some of their backstory.
Right.
Whereas this villain is... He's evil, he wants to kill people, but why are they doing... Why do they want to do this?
I never truly got a sense as to why this villain was doing what the villain was doing, and that to me was... it didn't allow me to feel the stakes, the emotional element of the stakes for what was happening. So these stunt scenes are so phenomenal to watch that when you're watching them, it's good enough that you want to see it on the biggest screen possible.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a very good movie.
And in the theater. I mean...
I just didn't think it was great. I think Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation are on different levels, in my opinion, and I also think Mission Impossible 3 is a better movie than Fallout. But this movie is worlds beyond Mission 1 and Mission 2.
Yeah, I love Rogue Nation's my favorite, but I would still give this a 4 out of 5. I just think definitely see it on the biggest screen in the movie theater. Love the entire cast, some of the best action, some of the best action sequences in the franchise.
Yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5 as well. So those.
And we met Tom Cruise.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Tom Cruise did the red carpet.
Tell my younger self watching Jerry Maguire growing up, Vanilla Sky, some of my favorite movies, that I would never, ever, ever thought that I would interview him, and we did, and he was so nice. And I regretfully forgot to tell him that you said you complete me when you proposed to me.
Yeah, I did.
Jerry Maguire. I was nervous when I was meeting him. I tried to, like, I don't even know what I said.
Yeah, I did a bunch of movie quotes when I proposed to my wife, and What You Completely Me was one of them. And,
so good.
But Tom Cruise is amazing. I mean,
the red carpet was amazing, and
Yeah.
one of my favorite DC red carpets ever.
It was incredible. But the movie, you can find our interviews if you go to my wife's Twitter, which is DC Film Girl. You can find it there. But I gave Mission Impossible Fallout a 4 out of 5. I thought the third act, generally with action scenes, when you go into the third act of an action movie, it's intercut with different action scenes happening at the same time. There's a major set piece that's happening in this third act that I thought was great, but the things that were being cut back to I didn't find as engaging. So to me, it kind of dampened a little bit what was happening with the major set piece. That being said, there are so many amazing action scenes in this movie that it's 100% worth seeing on the biggest screen you can possibly find.
Yeah.
And you will get that aspect ratio change for the IMAX shots, though it is digital. It won't be as big as what Nolan or Brad Bird did in Ghost Protocol, or Nolan does in Dunkirk and Interstellar and
Dunkirk.
Dark Knight. But we love Dunkirk. But it's good. It's very, very well done, and I love
a 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
I mean, that's great.
Yeah, we're talking like minimal points here being deducted for things I didn't love that I thought were better done in Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol. So 4 out of 5 for me on the film.
Mamma Mia.
Yeah. Yeah, Lauren. So Mamma Mia's we saw Mamma Mia recently, and I do want to preface this by saying I love musicals. I've been going to musicals all my life. I mean, I saw Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. I've seen so many things.
And you've liked movie musicals too. I'm just saying I'm giving Kevin a hard time because, like, I've been listening to the Mamma Mia Here We Go Again soundtrack, and Kevin's like, but I really liked it. All I want to say is it's fun. See it on a Saturday afternoon with your girlfriends, your mom, your family. It's just a fun film. Lily James was amazing. Yes, I agree there should have been more live singing, which would have made it better, but I thought that the sequel, like a continuation of that story, was really good.
Yeah, I think Mamma Mia, the first film, I despised. I did not like. I thought Pierce Brosnan had some of the worst singing I've ever seen in my life. But the lip syncing element of it, and I know lip syncing is a part of movie making for decades, but there's a way to do it, in my opinion. I think in these movies it's not done right, and it also doesn't help that the editing and the writing is also really bad. But the first movie I very much despise. The second film is made slightly better, a point higher, because I thought Lily James was good. I gave the first one.
She was amazing, and you love the very end.
Yeah, the very end's really good.
The end scene.
Yeah, the end's very emotional.
Great.
So,
yeah.
But my review for Mamma Mia 1 was Mamma Mia 1 was a 0.5. Mamma Mia 2 I gave it 1.5.
Yeah, I don't know what I even gave the first one. Maybe like a 3. I both about the same for me, like a 3.5 out of 5. They're just fun films, whatever.
Yeah.
Not going to be an Oscar film, whatever. They're fun.
Yeah, so go see Mission this weekend, Fallout, and we'll have more reviews coming up, hopefully, for the Meg, and we'll also do one of these videos from TIFF when we're at TIFF later this year.
Yay!
We're excited about A Star is Born.
Favorite film festival.
Yeah, and then Damien Chazelle's First Man's going to be there
Yes.
as well, which is going to be very cool. So those are the reviews this week. 4 out of 5 for both of us for Mission Impossible Fallout. We'll be back with more.
Bye!
Bye, guys.
Oscar!